Welcome to On Purpose, a series of short 10-minute reflections with me, Peter Hyson. In this short retreat, which features Sue Gray of Help Me Sleep, we look at people like Sue's 102-year-old aunt, people who've inspired us and from whom we draw strength to cope with the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune and everything that life and COVID and everything else throws at us, and all in the time that it takes to drink a cup of coffee. So I invite you to grab a drink, biscuit, cake, roll your sleeves up, and as the old radio programme used to say, are you sitting comfortably? Then I'll begin. That image of the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune will be familiar to many of us. Whether it's the uncertainty over employment, or how we'll cope with not seeing loved ones, or sacrificially obeying the rules and then seeing others flout them. Very often those arrows only feel like tiny pinpricks at the time, but over a period of time pinpricks can turn into perforations that end up tearing us apart. When I interviewed Sue recently, she talked about how a series of her own slings and arrows drove her into depression.
Because the funny thing with depression is that you don't actually feel depressed. I didn't feel down. I sort of felt like just like this, well, it's just the logical step, isn't it? You just kill yourself. It just made sense. But I mean, I was aware enough of what was happening to sort of say, actually, I need to go and see the doctor. And to my husband, you better come with me.
Yeah.
Because I could see what I was doing, and I thought, this is what that sort of level of depression is? Because I didn't feel miserable. I wasn't sort of like sitting there crying, or how something goes wrong and you feel depressed. It wasn't it wasn't that feeling.
More from Sue later, and you can find the full story on our website. But for now, even if we duck those slings and arrows, even if we avoid depression or discouragement, or even in stable times, we need something or someone to focus on. In a recent Facebook Live, I talked about the importance and the need for a North Star, something fixed and dependable from which we take our bearings, and of course a person whom we admire can act as that very same North Star. Often this takes the form of a role model or a hero who inspires us, energises us. Who are the people who've inspired and motivated you? You don't necessarily have to have met them. They might be from history or a novel. Usually we admire people for two things. Firstly, what they've been able to do. It might be overcoming the forces of evil or the freeing of hostages. It might be bringing peace to a troubled region. Or it might simply be surviving injustice or an abusive relationship. And then secondly, how they've been able to do it, which is often about a quality that they possess: courage, determination, grit, humour, which is often a quality that we would like to possess ourselves and perhaps believe that we haven't currently got. And then, why? And what quality attracts you to them? Quite often, these people may not even recognise the part they play in our life. People like Sue's centurion aunt, as Sue explains in this extract.
So anyway, I decided to get well, and it was this sort of that day I sort of thought, well, Auntie Winnie lived till she was 102. So that's sort of 50 years of this. If I'm not going to kill myself, then I've got to get well. And I made a decision, and it was quite strange. I said to myself, I'm going to get well, even if I have to go and go and meditate on the top of a mountain, standing on my head for 6 months.
You can find the full conversation with Sue in the resources section of our website at nextchapterretreats.guru. Two things about our heroes. Firstly, it's worth bearing in mind that our heroes aren't perfect. Most of them have feet of clay. Whether it's Superman and Kryptonite or our own low-profile inspiration. Otherwise, they wouldn't have the same impact. If you like, they show us, as ordinary as we are, that we can also do extraordinary things, overcome extraordinary odds. It's within our own grasp and capability. And since we've been referring to the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, perhaps I'll end referencing the legendary Robin Hood, unjustly removed from his land, who dedicates himself to helping the poor, although I'm not advocating robbery and violence, just his cause. Just focusing on our own hero to draw our motivation. They have a clear sense of purpose to help others. Not necessarily world-shattering or world-changing, often quite humble, but they do give us both the motivation and the example that gives us the energy and the commitment to carry on. If you'd like to explore more about how to find your own personal sense of purpose and direction, let's have a chat. Details on our website. You can email us or book a chat. See you next time.